You walk into a park feeling pretty good about yourself. Nice outfit, good energy. You even smiled at a stranger on the way here. But that crow sitting on the fence over there, it already decided what you are. Before you said a word, before you moved a muscle. In about 3 seconds, it had a complete opinion of you. And the uncomfortable part is, it's probably more accurate than the opinion your coworkers have after knowing you for 5 years. Here's what most people never think about. We spend our whole lives worrying about what other people think of us. But animals? They are doing the exact same thing, silently, constantly, and with information we didn't even know we were giving away. Welcome to Etholux, where we explore the hidden science of how animals perceive the world around them, and what that reveals about us. Today we are looking at something that happens every single time you step outside. Animals are reading you, and most of us have no idea what we are actually saying. So what exactly are they reading? The first thing is distance. Back in the 1940s, a Swiss zoologist named Heini Hediger was designing enclosures for zoo animals, and he noticed something strange. Every animal had an invisible bubble around it. Get too close, and it ran. Get even closer, and it attacked. He studied these invisible boundaries carefully and gave them names. He called the outer one the flight distance, the inner one the critical distance. And what he found changed how we understood animals forever. Far away? You don't matter yet. Getting closer? Now you matter. Cross the flight distance? The animal runs. Cross the critical distance? It doesn't run anymore. It turns around and fights. That bubble isn't random. It's survival math. And here's where it gets interesting. Walking past an animal feels completely different to it than walking directly toward it. Same human, same speed. But one says, I'm going somewhere else. The other says, you are my destination. Predators walk toward things. So when you walk straight at a wild animal while staring at it, it doesn't think, oh, a friendly human is approaching. It thinks, something has chosen me. The second signal is your eyes. Humans love eye contact. We use it for trust, connection, honesty, confidence. Animals use it very differently. In nature, a fixed stare usually means one thing: focus. And focus usually means hunting. So when you lock eyes with a nervous wild animal and hold that stare, it doesn't feel seen. It feels targeted. But with pets, the story changes completely. In 2020, psychologists Tasman Humphrey and Professor Karen McComb at the University of Sussex published a study in Scientific Reports. They wanted to know if the slow blink, the thing your cat does when it half closes its eyes at you, actually meant something. It did. Cats were significantly more likely to approach a human after that human slow blinked at them, even with complete strangers. The researchers called it a form of positive emotional communication between cats and humans. Same human eyes, completely different meaning, depending on the relationship. The third signal is movement, and this is where everything can change in a single second. Sudden movement equals alarm, almost always. A deer standing calmly near you will bolt if you sneeze at the wrong moment. A dog that was completely ignoring you will chase if you suddenly run. A bird sitting on your hand will fly off if your finger twitches too fast. This is especially visible with horses. Temple Grandin, one of the world's most respected animal behavior scientists, spent decades studying how animals respond to human movement. She found that horses and livestock are hypersensitive to small postural changes in humans. Tight shoulders, quick steps, stiff arms, shallow breathing. The horse doesn't need to hear your thoughts. It reads your body. And in horse language, a tense body means something nearby is wrong. So now the horse is nervous too, and nobody said a single word. Slow movement says, I am not hunting. Fast movement says, something is happening. Animals always pick the safest interpretation. The fourth signal is smell and sound. You think you arrive when animals see you. You're wrong. You arrived earlier, through their nose. Dogs have roughly 300 million olfactory receptors in their nose. Humans have about 6 million. That is not a small difference. That is a completely different experience of the world. A dog can smell where you've been, what you ate, and who you touched. Your shoes, your soap, your sweat, your lunch. All of it is broadcasting information, whether you realize it or not. But here is where it gets even more uncomfortable. In 2022, researchers at Queen's University Belfast published a study in PLOS One. They collected sweat and breath samples from humans before and after a high-stress task. Then they presented those samples to dogs. The dogs correctly identified the stress samples with an accuracy rate of over 90%. You can feel nervous and say nothing. You can smile and act completely calm. But your body is already releasing chemical changes in your sweat and breath. And a dog standing next to you can smell exactly what you are feeling. Dr. Zoe Parr-Cortez, a veterinarian and researcher at the University of Bristol, confirmed that dogs may detect these stress-related chemical signals even without any training at all. So when people say, dogs can smell fear, that is not a figure of speech. It is biochemistry. And if you think that is unsettling, consider elephants. A 2024 study led by Martin Krenslin at Kiel University and published in Zoo Biology found that African elephants could recognize the scent of their former keepers even after years of separation. Not months, years. The elephant does not need to see you. It may already know your scent. It may already have a file on you from years ago. You are never as invisible as you think you are. Now here's the biggest difference between pets and wild animals. Pets don't see a human. They see you. Your dog knows your routine, your moods, your sounds, and exactly what happens next when you pick up your keys. Your cat knows which drawer has the treats. It knows the difference between you sitting down to relax and you standing up to leave. They are not reading humans in general, they are reading you specifically. Wild animals do something different. They read humans as a category, and that category has a complicated reputation. This is where the research of wildlife biologist John Marsliff at the University of Washington becomes fascinating. Marsliff and his students spent years studying whether crows could actually recognize individual human faces. So they designed an experiment. Researchers wore a rubber caveman mask while trapping and banding wild crows on campus. A neutral mask was worn at all other times. What happened next was remarkable. For years afterward, crows who had never even been trapped would scold, mob, and alarm call at anyone wearing that caveman mask. The knowledge had spread. Through the flock, parent to offspring, bird to bird. A crow that had never met you could already know your face was dangerous, because someone else told it. To a crow, you are not just a human. You are a specific individual with a record. Every animal runs the same basic program: see, judge, react. It judges your distance, your eyes, your movement, your smell, your history. Then it decides: ignore, watch, flee, defend, or approach. That entire process takes about 3 seconds, sometimes less, and it happens whether you are aware of it or not. Animals are not asking who you are, they are asking what you usually do. To them, you are not a person with a personality and a life story. You are a pattern with a track record. Every time you enter an animal's world, you are teaching it something. Not with words, with distance, with your eyes, with how you move, with your smell, with how consistent you are. We spend a lot of time wondering what animals think of us, but maybe the better question is, what have we been showing them? Because long before you noticed them, they had already sized you up. The crow, still on the fence. Safe. Saw him feed that stray cat yesterday. Maybe he brought something for me too. He didn't.